Hello, my name is AlexandraSeas, and today I'm going to be presenting to the class on preventing obesity, mainly by healthy eating and physical activity. So there's no doubt that in our world, even in our community, there's been an increase in people who are overweight and obese. We look to the corner, we go to the grocery store, we are seeing more and more people obese and overweight. We see the lines at fast food restaurants are increasing, or you're in a line at a fast food restaurant, it takes 30 minutes to get your order. It's not really fast food anymore. But there is no doubt that there is an increase in the rates of people becoming overweight and obese. A little bit of background and some statistics that might scare you. Since 1975, there has been a threefold increase in worldwide obesity. In 2016, 39% of adults that are aged 18 or older were overweight, and 13% were obese. And that's in 2016. In 2016, 41 million children in the United States under the age of 5 were overweight or obese. And the worst part of it all is that obesity is completely preventable. It's preventable in many ways, and I'll go into that a little later on. And you're probably thinking, well, obesity is caused by fast food restaurants and eating junk food, French fries, cookies, and sugary beverages, and you're not wrong. You're absolutely not. But there are other factors that come into play. But the main scientific fundamental cause of obesity is the imbalance between consumed calories and expended calories. So pretty much what that means is that if for someone to be able to maintain weight, your calories that you're eating, or the calories you're eating, should balance off by the calories that you expend by activity, physical activity, or doing things, right? So there's a balance. So when someone gains weight, it's because of they're increasing their food intake, their caloric intake, but they're not also increasing their physical activity in order to compensate for that. So there's that imbalance. Not only that, but it's also the quality of food that we're consuming. Today we see, like I said, more fast food restaurants opening up, which contain a lot of high fatty foods. And fats, compared to carbohydrates and proteins, contain more calories per gram combined. So fats contain 9 calories per gram, while carbohydrates and proteins both contain 4 calories per gram. So you can see how someone could intake more calories and gain more weight by eating more fatty foods that we see all the time when we go to fast food restaurants. And they are delicious, but they're not that great for you. Not only is it the increase in calories and the quality of food, but it's also the increase in the sedentary work environment and the increase in urbanization. So now we have jobs that are from 8 to 5 in an office. You're just sitting there in the computer, just looking, or you're a student studying, or you're just someone in a work environment that does not allow you to move a lot, as we've done before in the past when we were cavemen and hunting for our food, pretty much exercising by walking around and whatnot. Not only that, but car transportation, vehicle transportation has increased. It's not easy now to go to your work just by walking, as we have seen in the 40s and the 30s with videos and whatnot. Or grandparents telling us, and even some of our parents telling us, that they would have to walk blocks or miles to get to school. Now it is just simple by going into your car, sitting in your car, and going to work or school, picking up your children, whatever the case may be. You're back again in a sedentary environment, and that leads to a decrease in your caloric expenditure. So So you see that there's an increase in caloric intake, but a decrease in expenditure, leading to weight gain, obesity, being overweight. And there's so many consequences to obesity. Some people, there's actually a debate of obesity and being overweight as a disease and addiction. And while many of you guys can argue with that, obesity does lead to comorbidities, diseases such as type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases such as a heart attack or a stroke, which actually was a leading cause of death in the United States in 2012, can lead to cancers such as breast, ovarian cancers, colon cancer, kidney, liver. Not only that, but we have now seen an increase in childhood obesity, and that can lead to a variety of things, not only them leading into obesity as adults, but also breathing difficulties, hypertension, early markers for cardiovascular diseases, insulin resistance, psychological effects as well, premature disability, and even premature death. So we see that obesity has not only itself is a risk factor, but causes other risk factors. And like I said before, obesity and becoming overweight is completely preventable by consuming a healthier diet and increasing in physical activity. Now, I found 2 peer-reviewed studies on one being diet and the other being physical activity. And we have seen a lot, or at least I personally have seen a lot in the magazines about the Mediterranean diet and how it's so great in preventing and treating obesity and being overweight. It's a very trendy diet that we've seen almost everywhere. At least I've seen it in so many magazines, as I just now stated. And it's based on, as the diet is, Mediterranean style food, so implementing more nuts like almonds, cashews, olive oil, seafood, legumes like lentils, chickpeas, and more vegetables and fruits into your diet. And we actually see in my plate, which I'll discuss a little later on, which is a resource used to help people, the average human, to customize their meal plans, but they state that we should be incorporating those more healthier foods into our diet. And so Franquesa and Associates conducted a systemic literature review on how the Mediterranean diet can, what's its role in preventing obesity, excuse me, and cardio diabetes, which is cardiovascular diabetes, obesity factors. That was how would I explain this into words? That was a word used in the article that kind of caught my mind, just bringing everything together. But anyways, they conducted a review of 57 articles, and they made sure that the inclusion criteria included diseases such as type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome. There was a couple others, but a lot of diseases that are related to obesity. And what they did was they wanted to answer 5 questions with the criteria of being on the patient, how to prevent, and what were the results on how Mediterranean diet can affect these specific diseases. But the results showed that there was a significant reduction in waist circumference, which is used in to calculate BMI and obesity. There was a reduction in weight loss, and a reduction in the BMI for an obese individual. There was also a decrease in abdominal adiposity in obese and non-obese individuals. There was a decrease in 3 markers for type 2 diabetes, which are hemoglobin A1C, C-reactive protein, and, excuse me if I butcher this, adiponectin, which were markers for type 2 diabetes. There was also a reduction in incidence and mortality on cardiovascular disease in obese and non-obese individuals, and reduced factors for obtaining metabolic syndrome, which is also termed prediabetes. So the literature and the articles, 57 articles, with evidence levels that were very high stated that this type of diet of just incorporating healthier foods into someone's diet can help reduce and prevent obesity and being overweight and all the health risk factors that come along with it. So we can see that diet really does play a role in reducing weight. Not only that, but as I stated before, physical activity. It is also recommended for people to increase their physical activity, but it's easier said than done. I mean, the majority of the U.S. population works an 8-to-5 job. They have to go pick up their kids, run errands, do other things, and by the end of the day, they just want to be home and just relax and not do much, which is completely understandable. But we want to see how physical activity can help reduce obesity and prevent obesity. So Fulton and Associates conducted a systemic literature review in determining if physical activity does reduce obesity and its comorbidities. The study showed that yes, it does. It reduces obesity, it aids in weight maintenance, and benefits overall health, period. However, they could not generalize how much exercise a person needed to do in order to, lose weight. Everybody's different, but the recommendations were 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity, so that could be a light walk, a jog, walking your dog, taking your children to the park and playing with them, or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise a week, so let's say CrossFit or functional training exercises, 75 minutes a week. I'm not saying 75 minutes a day. 75 minutes a week. Going to the gym, weightlifting, doing more aerobic exercises. And they also recommended to decrease sedentary activities, such as reducing television viewing by 50%. That showed an increase in weight loss and weight maintenance. So that just shows how diet and physical activity both can help reduce obesity and its incidence and its prevalence. But like I said before, it's easier said than done. And fortunately, before I get into my plate, unfortunately, some of us do not know how to implement a diet plan, how to start a physical activity workout schedule. And some of us sometimes want to completely cut cold turkey and just start doing this or start doing a diet and whatnot. And in the end, it's just a diet for a week. It's not a lifestyle change. And what My Plate, which was created by the United States Department of Agriculture, that was their main goal. Their main goal pretty much was to start by incorporating small changes, small habits in order to create a physical and healthy, active lifestyle, right? They did this by building customizable plans for somebody and helping them with building a more personalized meal plan, helping you cook with a set budget, because not all of us can afford a Mediterranean diet. I'm sorry to say, some stuff are pretty expensive, like halibut, which is a fish. It focuses on, a variety of you implementing a variety of foods of your nutrition and whatnot. And we've probably seen this. I don't know. I remember seeing this as a kid. What the My Plate is literally My Plate. So you see a picture of a plate. Half of your plate is consistent of vegetables and fruit. A quarter of your plate is whole grains or legumes, lentils, brown rice, you name it, sweet potatoes. And then another quarter is protein, so fish, chicken, some red meats. Beans are also great. Quinoa is also a great source of protein. And also a side of dairy products. And with dairy products, they recommend you eating low fat or reduced fat dairy products. And there's actually a lot. There's fat-free cheese at HEB, which is your local grocery store here in Texas. But My Plate is such a great resource for somebody to start a customizable plan in order to eat what they want or eat healthier choices of what they want without getting bored, without it being bland or just gross. So they could change and make it into not just a diet but a lifestyle, and that is the main purpose for or this is the main reason as to why we have an increased rate of obesity. A lot of people would rather just go to fast food, make it quick and easy, but if we start implementing smaller changes, then we can go ahead and reduce these incidences and prevalences of obesity and overweight and with comorbidities. However, we need to, as health professionals, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are here for to become a doctor, a dentist, a nurse, or dietitian, nutritionist, name it, a health professional. We need to become or help our loved ones who are obese, or not even obese, or our friends, our community, to be aware of My Plate resources and how to choose healthier options and to increase physical activity, even if it's just doing 10 jump squats at your office every hour for a minute, to increase activity. It's important for us who are learning about this and educating ourselves about nutrition and physical activity to spread the word and to help our community to decrease the rate and prevalences of obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. So thank you so much for listening, and